With 29 votes in the affirmative, 1 vote in the negative, and 0 abstention, the motion is granted. The committee is directed to issue the necessary subpoena, duces tecum, and subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Gloria A. Camora, and with respect as well to the production of pertinent documents on confidential fund of both the DepEd and the Office of the Vice President in 2022 and 2023. So ruled. Honorable De Lima.
My second motion is to issue subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum to Mr. Ramil Lagunoy Madriaga to produce, identify, and authenticate his affidavit dated November 29, 2025, which is Annex A of the complaint in the Sabalia et al. Complaint, and any other documentary or object evidence in his possession, and to testify thereon. This is with respect to receipt on the receipt, handling, and distribution of the confidential funds. It's very clearly alleged in the complaint of the Sabalia et al.
There is a motion raised by the Honorable De Lima to issue subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to Ramil Lagunoy Madriaga, and for the production of affidavit dated November 29, 2025, as well as any other evidence in his possession. The same has been seconded by Vice Chair Dumogan. Is there any objection?
Madam Chair, objection because again, there is a statement here in the third column that it's also his testimony on the DepEd's confidential funds where we have no jurisdiction. Objection, Madam Chair.
Considering that the motion has been objected to, we shall now proceed to vote. Committee on Justice members, please be ready to vote. This is on the motion for the issuance of subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to Ramil Madriaga, as well as for the production of his affidavit and any other evidence in his possession. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes the voting. Committee Secretariat, result, please. With 29 votes in the affirmative, 1 vote in the negative, and 0 abstention, the motion is hereby granted. The Committee on Justice is directed to issue the necessary subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to Ramil Madriaga, and for the production of his affidavit dated November 29, 2025, and any other evidence in his possession. So ruled. Honorable De Lima.
My third motion is for the issuance as well of subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum to Attorney Cynthia Viñas Pantonal, the notary public who notarized the affidavit of Mr. Madriaga, to identify and authenticate the due execution and notarization of Mr. Madriaga's affidavit.
Second, Madam Chair.
There is a motion to issue subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Cynthia Viñas Pantonal, as well as for the production of the original copy of the affidavit of Mr. Madriaga dated November 29, 2025. Do I hear a second? The
Second,
same
Madam
has been
Chair.
seconded. Is there any objection?
Madam Chair, objection.
The same objection is
consistent.
registered by the Honorable Rodriguez. Let us proceed to vote. Justice members, those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hand, Honorable Rodriguez. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes the voting.
Madam Chair, I just stepped out, but I'm voting in favor of the motion as
The
well.
Honorable Jokno is registering his vote in favor of the motion. Result, please. Ulit, ilan? 34. With 30 votes in the affirmative, 1 vote in the negative, and 0 abstention, the motion is granted. The committee is directed to issue the necessary subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Cynthia Viñas Pantonal, as well as the production of the original affidavit of Mr. Madriaga, executed on November 29, 2025. So ruled. The Honorable De Lima.
Madam Chair, my fourth motion is also for the production of subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to the custodian of the Archives Division of the House of Representatives to produce, identify, and authenticate transcripts, video recordings, and related records of prior hearings of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability on the Office of the Vice Presidents and Department of Education's disposition of their confidential funds for 2022 and 2023. I so move, Madam Chair.
There is a pending motion for the issuance of subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum to the Legislative Library Archives Division, House of Representatives, as well as for the production of transcript and video recording of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability on September 18, 2024, September 25, 2024, October 17, 2024, November 5, 2024, November 25, 2024, as well as the production of the affidavit of USEC Gloria Mercado and the envelopes labeled Hope, submitted by Undersecretary Mercado. The motion has been seconded by the Honorable Zamora. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is hereby granted. The necessary subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum in as far as the Legislative Library Archives Division of the House of Representatives is hereby directed to be issued by the committee. The Honorable De Lima.
Madam Chair, the fifth and last motion for today's proceedings for the production of subpoena duces tecum and subpoena ad testificandum to be addressed to a representative from the Philippine Statistics Authority to produce, identify, and authenticate certifications from the civil registry system, such as the database, the PSA Civil Registry System database on the certificate of live birth, certificate of marriage, certificate of death on several names found in the submissions of the Office of the Vice President and Department of Education, particularly certification dated December 8, 2024 and December 11, 2024. This is to show the recipients of OVP's and DepEd's confidential funds had no birth, marriage, or death records, as well as to identify and authenticate the requested certifications. I so move.
There is a motion for issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to the Philippine Statistics Authority, Carlos P. Garcia, to the Philippine Statistics Authority, or to the representative of the Philippine Statistics Authority, and for subpoena duces tecum with respect to the original copies of the certifications pertaining to PSA verification made from PSA Civil Registry System database on the certificate of live birth, marriage, and death on several names found in the submissions of the OVP and DepEd, particularly the following: certification dated December 8, 2024, and certification dated December 11, 2024. Do I hear a second?
Second.
The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is granted. The committee is
Chair.
directed to issue the necessary subpoena to the representative of the PSA, as well as for the production of the documents mentioned therein.
Madam Chair, just a manifestation.
The Honorable Marcoleta is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recall during the previous hearings, maybe 2 or 3 past hearings ago, I raised the issue of procedural due process when I said that ginanap ng Kongreso ang trabaho na di dapat nila ginagawa dahil ito ay trabaho ng COA. And I was referring to the past hearings made by the Quadcom, or if I'm not mistaken, the Committee on Good Governance. And the chair remarked that wala pong kinalaman ang mga past hearings ngayong hearing ng impeachment ni Pipi Sara. Pero ngayon po ay tila ginagamit natin at humingi tayo ng dokumento mula sa mga hearings na yon. So ako po ay nagugulumihanan. Kala ko po ba walang kinalaman ang mga past hearings ng Quadcom o ng Committee on Good Government, pero tayo po ay nagbabalik tanaw at kukuha ng mga dokumento mula sa archives ng hearing na yon. May I be clarified, Madam Chair?
This impeachment proceeding pertains to the fitness to hold public office of our Vice President Sara Zimmerman C. Duterte. That is the reason why manifestations pertaining to the past inquiry of Quadcom and even of the Committee on Good Government was discouraged by the chairperson. Nevertheless, all the manifestations of the Honorable Marcoleta are duly noted by the Committee on Justice. Now we proceed. We have discussed already all the pending matters before the committee, and the chair wishes to reiterate the previously announced schedules for our subsequent hearings. That includes April 14. After this announcement, April 14, April 22, and April 29.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Tino first, and then the Honorable D.S. Conghon.
Madam Chair, may I make an additional motion for the issuance of a subpoena?
I'd like to make another motion for the
Yes.
issuance of subpoena.
I move that the subpoena be issued to Attorney Michael Wesley Poa in his capacity as the former Chief of Staff of the Vice President and DepEd Secretary from 2022 to 2023. In such capacity, he has very material and relevant information on how the confidential funds in the DepEd were used, and in particular, he had a direct role in the preparation of the accomplishment reports relating to the use of the DepEd's confidential funds, some of which these accomplishment reports have been the subject of the request for subpoena that this committee has approved.
May
So
we
I
hear
so
from
move, Madam
our
Chair.
endorser? Would you like to comment to the motion of the Honorable Tino? He wishes for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Poa, considering that during that time, he was assuming the position of
Chief of Staff of the DepEd Secretary,
COS
yes,
of DepEd.
Undersecretary, with the rank of Undersecretary.
Honorable De Lima?
My motion was pertained only to the custodian of those COA audit records, including liquidation reports, disbursement vouchers, certifications, and related submissions from the custodian, the official custodian of the Intelligence and Confidential Funds Audit Office of the Commission on Audit. I won't have any strong objection to that request since it's related to this item.
All right,
The
so
subject matter of the first motion that I put forth, which was approved by the body.
the chair will now act on the motion. The
Madam
committee
Chair.
will now act on the motion. Is that an objection to the motion of the
Definitely.
Honorable Tino?
I object. Are there documents that the Chief of Staff, Attorney Poa, has signed that he would be a witness to identify? May I ask the proponent?
Before we entertain the objection of the Honorable Rodriguez, let me just formalize that there is a motion raised by the Honorable Tino to issue a subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Poa, considering that he was the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Department of Education during the alleged period of 2022 and 2023. Do I hear a second?
Second.
The same has been seconded by the Honorable D.S. Conghon. Now let's hear the objection of the Honorable Rodriguez.
Madam Chair, I could not find nexus borne by evidence or ultimate facts that would now make the Chief of Staff and lawyer of the Vice President to be subpoenaed. In fact, he has entered his appearance as counsel. So I would like to know whether there are documents which he certified or he signed that would make him be able to be invited to be given subpoena to appear in this committee. Otherwise, then we can, just because they are in the office of the Vice President, we'll be giving subpoena to everybody there in the Vice President's office. So I object, and I would like to know about that. Are there documents that would show that he has been part of these confidential funds?
Yes, Madam Chair, in the third complaint endorsed by the Honorable De Lima, there is a section extensively discussing the role that then USEC POA played in preparing the accomplishment reports pertaining to the use of the confidential funds, where and the complaint cites the transcripts of the hearings of the Committee on Good Governance on this matter, where USEC POA admits that he was ordered by the Vice President to submit these accomplishment reports, and also cited in the complaint that the several Army units denied what was claimed in these accomplishment reports.
So we've heard the justification of the Honorable Tino. We've heard as well the justification and the objection of the Honorable Rodriguez. We are a collegial body, so we shall now proceed to vote on the motion
Before
of the
the
Honorable
voting,
Tino.
Madam Chair, I would like the proponent to show to us documents, certifications that had led to the release of these confidential funds. Because we are now already on the hearing, precisely. Are there any? Because if there's none, there is no reason to call him and subpoena a lawyer.
Madam
The
Chair,
Honorable
as I
Tino.
said, I cite the complaint itself, the third complaint. I mean, thank you.
Allegations lang naman yun, wala nga documentary.
Specifically, starting from
The process of utilization of the alleged confidential funds is not confined to the documents.
okay.
There could be actions that contributed to the utilization of confidential fund, which might be covered by the testimony of the possible witnesses.
Okay. Well, starting from paragraph 269 of the third complaint, page 90, there is a reference to former DepEd spokesperson. He was spokesperson as well as Chief of Staff, Michael Poa, testifying that he received envelopes directly from Vice President Sara herself. So this has to do with the allegation on bribery. And further, and there are other sections as well pertaining to the use of the confidential funds, Madam Chair. If Congressman Rodriguez would want, we can provide, given enough time, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, we are now voting, so we should be able to get it. If there is. The fact that he's Chief of Staff and Counsel will not, implicate him to be able to have that if there is no document. So I would object to that, Madam Chair.
With the indulgence of these two gentlemen, as to whether or not there's relevance in the presentation of Attorney Michael Coa, will be a question that rests on the judgment of the justice members. We shall now proceed to vote. Those who are in favor of the motion for issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Poa, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion. Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. 2, 3. Were you able to count? Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes the voting. We shall announce the result. With 34 votes in the affirmative, 3 votes in the negative, and 0 abstention. The motion is granted. The committee is directed to issue the necessary subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Poa. So ruled.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Jokno.
there is still one more pending incident, I believe, that pertains to the petition that this representation filed with the House, which was referred last Wednesday to the committee. This is a petition under Section 8 of the Rules on Impeachment, which provides that the House may, upon proper petition, provide adequate protection to a complainant or witness if it is shown that the personal safety of the witness is in jeopardy because of participating in the impeachment proceeding. I will no longer reiterate what is contained in my petition, Madam Chair, but if I may just add a few points that I believe are important for the consideration of the committee. Una-una po, para sa kaalaman ng taong bayan, hiniling natin ang proteksyon para kay Ramil Madriaga para makapunta siya rito at magbigay ng kanyang testimonya under oath sa harap ng committee ito. Standard po ito sa sinumang saksi, pero mas mahalaga ito dahil may mga direktang ulat na galing mismo kay Ginoong Madriaga na may panganib sa kanyang buhay. In his own sinumpaang salaysay, sinabi niya, and I quote, "Araw-araw na rin nagsasabi sa akin, delikado na talaga ang buhay mo, seryoso. Ingat Ram, balita ko mataas-taas ang reward money sa iyo. Secure mo ang family mo at iba pa." Sa loob ko ay nakakaramdam ako ng sobrang takot. Ang takot na yon ay hindi lang sa sarili ko, kundi pati sa aking pamilya. Napaparanoid na rin po ako kasi posible rin itong mangyari na lasunin ako. Halos hindi na ako mapakali kuminsan at hindi ko maiwasan magduda na rin sa mga fellow PDLs at kahit po mismo sa mga jail officers dahil sa pagsiwalat ko ng issue kay VP Sara Duterte. Madam Chair, these threats have already escalated. According to his affidavit, on March 3, 2026, a detainee with a pending homicide case attempted to forcibly drag Mr. Madriaga into a confined bodega area within the jail. According to Mr. Madriaga, and I quote, "Ayon sa mga naririnig ko sa loob ng kulungan, ang bodegang ito ay sinasabing pinagawa ni dating Congressman Arnie Teves. Isa sa mga impormasyon na nakuha ko ay si Kong Arnie Teves ang gusto magpatumba sa akin," end quotation. Kinumpirma naman po ni DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla na binisita ni Vice Presidente si dating Congressman Teves sa kulungan noong October 19, 2025. Base ito sa ulat ng Inquirer na mismo ang Vice President ang nag-attach sa kanyang perjury complaint laban kay Ginoong Madriaga. Ito ay matatagpuan mismo sa Annex V sa complaint affidavit na minarkahang Annex 5 sa Consolidated Verified Answer ad cautelam ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Just to be clear, this is not intended to accuse anyone. I'm merely raising a concern in our quest to find the truth. If we allow a witness to be intimidated, hurt, or God forbid, killed, then we fail in our constitutional mandate. In terms of what kind of adequate protection I believe would be necessary, I believe that would entail three things, Madam Chair. Number one, that the security for the witness be beefed up, particularly by the National Bureau of Investigation. Second, that his attendance when he is required to appear here be done in a secure manner, that there is sufficient security for his transport here, and also while he is here to testify, that he be put in a secure place. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Would you like to raise the necessary motion with respect to the protective custody of witness Ramil Madriaga?
Yes, Madam Chair. In line with Section 8 of the Rules of the House on Impeachment, I move that adequate protection be provided to Mr. Ramil Madriaga, consisting of three things. Number one, that the security where he is presently detained be beefed up, particularly by the National Bureau of Investigation. Number two, that his attendance, when required by the committee, be secured as well, so that his safety will be, so that his life will not be put in danger. And number three, that while he is testifying before this committee, that again, proper safeguards be put in place to ensure his his life will not be endangered. I so move, Madam Chair.
So for clarification, the Honorable Jokno, you are requesting, in line with protective custody, is to augment the current security with the NBI security.
Yes, Madam Chair.
You are also requested for sufficient security during his transport to the hearing of the Justice Committee.
And while
you
he
also
is
requested
testifying.
for a secured and safe place for his confinement
While he is testifying, yes.
while he is testifying before the Justice Committee. So we've heard the details of the protective custody which are being requested by the Honorable Jokno by way of his motion. There is a motion to formalize the same. There's a motion for protective custody of witness Ramil Madriaga, consisting of augmented security by the NBI, security during transport to hearings of the Justice Committee, and secured place of confinement during the hearing as well of this committee. Do I hear a second?
I second the
Madam
motion.
Chair.
The same
Madam
has
Chair.
been seconded.
Madam Chair.
Point of,
May we know the pleasure of the Honorable Rodriguez? Are
Madam
you-
Chair, I would like to know whether, directly, whether the motion would transfer custody of Mr. Madriaga to the House of Representatives premises.
May we be clarified on that, the Honorable Jokno?
I did not include that in my motion, Madam Chair.
I understand that the motion is only to make sure that he is in a secured place of confinement.
Yes. Madam Chair, it has already been stated that the Honorable Director of NBI has already assigned personnel to watch 24 hours. Mr. Madriaga in Camp Bagondiwa. In fact, the jail superintendent has already stated that Madriaga has been transferred to a solitary cell so that there'll be no other people there that will endanger his life. And so, Madam Chair, with the presumption, Madam Chair, of regularity of functions and that our witnesses will be fully protected, there's no need for this motion. Secondly, Madam Chair, Ramil Madriaga is a polluted source. He is facing kidnapping with murder charges. In 2021, one member of the anti-kidnapping gang was killed. The PNP member of the anti-kidnapping gang. And then they were arrested in 2022, 2023. That's why he is in jail. And now we're going to give credence to a
Madam
polluted
Chair,
affidavit.
point of
Madam
order.
Chair, no,
There
Madam
is a
Chair.
point of
Let us
order,
clarify,
Honorable
we're trying to
Rodriguez.
protect somebody who is a polluted source. In fact, in
Madam
the cases
Chair.
of the
Honorable
Supreme Court.
Rodriguez, there's a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let's hear the point of
Premature.
order. The Honorable De
Madam
Lima is
Chair, I
recognized.
submit that it's clearly premature for anyone to raise an issue of credibility on the part of the intended witness. He's not yet testifying. He will testify, and therefore, issues of credibility can be raised in the questioning, in the clarificatory questioning. Mr. Madriaga can be asked about those things during the hearing, the proper stage of the hearing, but not at this point. So it's out of order. Any such statement relating to the issue of credibility, statements like a polluted source, that is not yet proper at this stage of the proceedings.
Would you
Madam
like to
Chair.
raise a motion concerning the manifestations of the Honorable Rodriguez with respect to the credibility of Ramil Madriaga?
I move that particular part of the manifestation of the Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez with respect to Mr. Madriaga being allegedly a polluted source and the related statements with respect to the issue of his credibility be stricken off the records.
Is there any second?
Second, Madam
The
Chair.
same has
Madam
been
Chair.
seconded. Is there any
I
objection?
will, yes, of course, Madam Chair, because we are
Two,
trying
two
to...
motions are pending now.
Yes.
One is the motion for the issuance of subpoena motion for protective custody of Ramil Madriaga, raised by the Honorable Chel Jokno, and second is the motion to strike off from the record the manifestation concerning the credibility of Ramil Madriaga. The same has been seconded as well.
This representation is not out of order. We are discussing about giving a bundle of rights, 3. All of this to be able to give that advantage, that perceived, safety issues which are not. That's why me stating that to give this bundle of rights, to give this protection, to all of this custody and so forth in a safe place, should not be given to a polluted source. That is the point that I have. And therefore, it is not out of order. We are discussing, we are objecting to this particular motion. And that is the reason why, these are the reasons why I say that we have to know this person whom we are giving all of these extra advantages and extra attention and care which he does not deserve.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable De Lima.
Mr. Madriaga is listed as one of the witnesses for the complainants. And that's why I asked for the issuance of subpoena juris tecum. And it's very clear under Section 8 of the Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings, protection to complainants or witnesses. The House may, upon proper petition, provide adequate protection to a complainant or witness if it is shown that the personal safety of the complainant or witness is in jeopardy because of participating in the impeachment proceedings. And we have heard the manifestation and the explanation of the Honorable Chel Jokno about the the alleged threat to his safety. And therefore, it is very much in order that we tackle the issue of grant of protection in the mode that was described and asked or sought for by Congressman Chel Jokno, and the motion has been duly seconded. Thank you.
We've heard amply the argument of both the Honorable Rodriguez and the Honorable De Lima. For the guidance of the Justice members, our parliamentary status is there's a pending motion by Congressman Chel Jokno for protective custody of witness Ramil Madriaga. The same has been seconded. The same is objected to by the Honorable Rodriguez. There's likewise a pending motion by the Honorable Laila de Lima to strike out from the record the manifestation of the Honorable Rodriguez pertaining to the credibility of witness Ramil Madriaga. The same has been seconded as well, and the same was objected to as well by the Honorable Rodriguez. We shall now proceed to divide the House, starting with the first motion. That is the motion of the Honorable Chel Jokno. Again, for the guidance of the members, the motion is for the protective custody of Ramil Madriaga. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your
Madam
right
Chair,
hand.
may I just clarify
Yes, please.
that my motion requests, I'm moving specifically for three things. Number
Yes.
one, that we make sure that there is additional security provided to Mr. Madriaga
You said from the NBI.
in his present place of detention by the NBI. Second, that both in the transport when he is required to come here to testify and while he is testifying, again, that adequate security be provided to him.
All right? So those who are in favor of the motion for protective custody of witness Ramil Madriaga, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor, please raise your right hand. Honorable Tino. Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes the voting. We shall announce the result. With 35 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote in the negative, with 0 abstention, the motion is granted. The Secretariat is requested to closely coordinate with the Office of the Sergeant at Arms and/or Legislative Security Bureau for the protection of Ramil Madriaga. As courtesy by the committee, please also notify the BJMP as well as the respective regional trial court which ordered his detention. So ruled. Indeed, all the pending matters were already addressed by the committee. The chair believes that we should.
Madam Chair.
The chair stands corrected. There's another pending motion from the Honorable De Lima. May we request the Honorable De Lima to restate the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the portion of the statement or manifestation of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez attacking the credibility of the intended witness, Ramil Madriaga, the issue of his credibility, those allegations about being a polluted source, Ramil Madriaga being a polluted source, be stricken off from the records.
There is a motion to strike out from the record the manifestation of the Honorable Rodriguez with respect to the credibility of witness Ramil Madriaga. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? There is an objection. Let's proceed to divide the House. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes our voting. We shall announce the result. With 34 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 0 abstention. The motion is granted. The committee secretariat is directed to strike out from the record all the manifestations of the Honorable Rodriguez pertaining to the credibility of witness Ramil Madriaga. So ruled.
Madam Chair.
We have concluded all the pending matters before the committee, and we shall now proceed to the determination of
Madam Chair.
the Honorable Ridon.
I wanted to return again to the matter of SALN and unexplained wealth. I understand that Congressman Chu had already moved for the subpoena of the SALNs of the Vice President. And I will also be moving for the following documents and for the committee to issue subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum on the following. A representative from the Bureau of Internal Revenue to bring the following: tax compliance and reported income of Vice President Sara Duterte, her spouse, Attorney Manasseh Carpio, and various business entities in which they hold interest. Original or certified true copies of the annual income tax returns and other relevant documents pertinent thereto, such as VAT payments of Vice President Sara Duterte, her spouse Manasseh Carpio, for the years 2007 to 2025, and the following entities for the periods specified: Metro City Chow Foods Corp., formerly City Hall King Chow Foods Corp., for the years 2007 onwards; Gen Corp Industries Inc., formerly Times Square B Foods Corp., and Great Jolly Times Food, for the years 2021 onwards; Carpio Lawyers, formerly Carpio Duterte, for the years 2007 onwards; 888 Bistro, for the years 2021 onwards; Kale 88 Foods Corp., for the years 2021 onwards; Madayo Fisheries Corp., for the years 2021 onwards; Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; Amianan Shores Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; Geometry Security and Investigation Agency Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; and Cable Tow 88 Shipping and Marine Services Inc., for the years 2024 onwards. So moved, Madam Chair.
There is a motion for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to the BIR representative and for subpoena duces tecum to the aforementioned documents by the Honorable Ridon. Do I hear a second? Any second to the motion of the Honorable Ridon?
Second.
The same has been seconded by the Honorable Dolima. Is there any objection? The Honorable Rodriguez is registering his objection. If you have no other manifestation, we shall proceed to vote. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, kindly raise your right hand. Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Those who Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Keith. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes our voting. We shall announce the result of voting on this motion. With 34 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 0 abstention. The motion is granted. The chair directs the committee secretariat to issue the necessary subpoena ad testificandum to the BIR representative and subpoena duces tecum with respect to the ITR of VP Sara Duterte, her spouse Manasseh Carpio, for the year 2007 to 2025, including the entities for the same period as mentioned by the Honorable Ridon. So ruled. Honorable Ridon.
Madam Chair, I have one more motion relating again to Salen and unexplained wealth. I move that a subpoena duces tecum and ad testificandum be issued to the following: a representative from the Securities and Exchange Commission, and to bring certified true copies of the general information sheet and audited financial statements of the following entities: Metro City Chow Foods Corp., formerly City Hall King Chow Foods Corp., for the years 2007 onwards; GenCorp Industries Inc., formerly Times Square B Foods Corp. And Great Jolly Times Food, for the years 2021 onwards; Carpio Lawyers, formerly Carpio Duterte, for the years 2007 onwards; 888 Bistro, for the years 2021 onwards; Kale 88 Foods Corp., for the years 2021 onwards; Madayo Fisheries Corp., for the years 2021 onwards; Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; Amian Shores Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; Geometry Security and Investigation Agency Inc., for the years 2023 onwards; and Cable Tow 88 Shipping and Marine Services Inc., for the years 2024 onwards. So moved, Madam Chair.
There is a motion for issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to the representative of Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as of subpoena duces tecum with respect to the general information sheet and annual financial statements of the business establishments mentioned already by the Honorable Ridon. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection?
Madam Chair, objection. And
You're recognized, Honorable
grounds for
Rodriguez.
objection. May I know first why these companies registered with the SEC will be subpoenas in its record? Is there a nexus between this to the allegations in the complaint, third and fourth complaint? May we know the relevance of these corporations to the present impeachment case against the Vice President?
The proponent first, Honorable Ridon, followed by the Honorable Keith Flores.
Mahalaga po yung pagpapaliwanag mula sa una, sa mga kinita po ng mag-asawang Duterte Carpio from their own personal income, which will be reflected from the annual income tax returns. Pangalawa, mula din po doon sa mga corporate documents kung saan po sila kasali. Sapagkat doon po natin makikita kung yung po mga other lawful income para maipakita na ang lahat po ng kanyang kinita over the course of 17 years from 2007 ay mga lehitimo pong kita mula sa sahod at mula po sa kinita mula sa propesyon at mula po sa mga negosyo. So, meron pong clear relevancy. Ito pong mga SEC documents po na ito dahil dito natin makikita kung kumita ba o hindi ito pong mga kumpanya na ito sapagkat kung kumita po ito, maipapaliwanag ng atin pong pangalawang Pangulo at ng kanya pong mister na talaga pong kumita ng tama over the course of 17 years from other lawful income katulad ng propesyon at iba pang mga negosyo ang kanila pong pagsasama. So dito mo maipapakita ng ating pong pangalawang Pangulo na hindi po unexplained wealth. Ito po nga kanyang pagkakaroon ng 88 million na net worth in 2024 kumpara po sa kanya po kinita na cumulatively sahod from 2007 to 2024 na more or less mga 30 million to 40 million pesos lamang po, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm joining the objection of Congressman Rufus Rodriguez only on the following grounds, Madam Chair, that the request being made by Congressman Ridon covers periods when the respondent was not yet the Vice President, Madam Chair. I'm going back to the decision of the Supreme Court when it said that we can only file impeachment complaints against an impeachable officer for things done during the incumbency or while she is holding the impeachable office. So by requesting documents or data or figures that would include the time when she was just vice mayor, I think, in 2007, or holding other positions that are not yet or may be considered impeachable, that's where my objection is, Madam Chair.
Honorable Ridon, would you like to comment to that?
Tama naman po yun. Pero what we would want to be able to see is a complete financial picture of the Vice President from the time that she commenced the public office in 2007 as a Vice Mayor up until today. That would be a proper objection with due respect if we had ended our request previous to 2022. But to be clear, I think a big chunk of all of these businesses' requests will most definitely cover up until today, Madam Chair. And more particularly, there are specific firms here which basically cover the term of the Vice President already. Geometry Security, Amianan Shores, Cable Tow are some examples. But to be clear, all of these are firms that had been listed in the 2024 SALN, which is why I think the nexus between the documents of the SALN and the corporate records is established as we speak, Madam Chair.
Would you
Madam
like to
Chair.
make additional manifestation?
May I secure from Congressman Ridon a statement of ultimate facts in the third and fourth complaint, which mentions these corporations? Are there any? None.
There is none.
None. Second, are there annexes that would show in the third and fourth complaint that would, mention and that would pertain to why you're going to ask for subpoena ducis tecum to the SSE and for the records there? Are there annexes in the complaint?
There is none.
Madam Chair, clearly this will be the biggest fishing fleet expedition that we are doing. Because it was, we only deal with ultimate facts. In fact, we are trying here to determine whether there is violation of the 6 grounds of the Constitution as stated in the 2 complaints. And so therefore, how can we have that, Madam Chair? So that's the first one. Secondly, did I hear from you that you want records from a law office? I heard something because this is new to us. This is a surprise to us, all of us here, that they are now a subpoena for entities that are not included in the complaint. So are you saying there's something about a law office?
To be clear, these are in the SALN of the Vice President for 2023 and 2024. So I think there's nothing that prevents this committee from basically issuing subpoenas on documents that are actually public documents, Madam Chair.
No, I'm asking specifically. There was a statement. You're asking for subpoena for a law office.
Yes, because our assumption is that this is an incorporated law office because it was stated as one of the business interests of the Vice President in her SALN.
Aware of the privilege communication between lawyers and client? This will exactly violate the provision of privilege. You cannot subpoena law firms for representing a person either accused or in impeachment cases. How can we subpoena a law firm for acting as a lawyer for the vice president? Can you give us a reason why we should subpoena law firms under the rules of court and under the Code of Professional Responsibility? We cannot subpoena records of a law firm.
Sure, court records or communications between clients and the lawyers are absolutely privileged communications. But if this particular law firm is an incorporated entity within the Securities and Exchange Commission and had been submitting annual audited financial statements year after year and general information sheets, I don't think we are precluded as a committee, as an impeachment proceeding, from requesting these particular documents. We are not talking about conversations between the clients of Duterte Carpio or Carpio lawyers. We are talking about their financial output year on year. And to be clear, this is precisely the justification of supporters of the Vice President as to why her net worth, had ballooned to 88 million as against a computed cumulative salary of 30 to 40 million pesos. So I don't think there is reason to, in fact, object to getting all of these financial documents, whether from a corporation or whether from a law firm that is supposedly registered in the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Madam Chair.
May I call the Honorable Jokno first?
Perhaps it would be more prudent if we could have the motion of Representative Ridon in writing so that we can consider all the angles and the aspects to that request. I think that we would need to tread carefully when it comes to these matters, especially given the points raised by Representative Rodriguez.
This is with respect to the motion of the Honorable Ridon for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to SEC representative and ad duces tecum, subpoena duces tecum with respect to the GIS and audited financial statement of certain business establishments mentioned already by the Honorable Ridon. Since we have heard already the arguments of both the proponent and those who are against, we shall now proceed to vote. We are reminded that we are a collegial body. All decisions come from the majority. So the justice members are reminded to be ready to vote. Again, the motion is to issue subpoena ad testificandum to SEC representative and subpoena duces tecum with respect to the certified true copies of GIS and AFS of the business establishments mentioned already by the Honorable Ridon. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? There is an objection. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes our voting. We shall announce the result. With 14 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 3 abstention, the motion is hereby declared granted. The committee secretariat is directed to issue the necessary subpoena ad testificandum to the representative of SEC and subpoena duces tecum for the production of GIS and AFS of the business establishments mentioned in the motion of the Honorable Ridon. So ruled. May we know if there is a representative of the respondent, Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte, to inform the committee about the necessity of issuing the compulsory processes with respect to the witnesses she wishes to present and the documents she wishes to present as well to the committee. The chair wishes to state for the record that despite the non-attendance or non-appearance of the Vice President and her counsel, in today's hearing, they are welcome to participate at any stage of our proceeding. That is in pursuit of due process which we accord to the respondent in this impeachment proceeding. Having said so, are there any other matters?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable D.S. Conghun first before the Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, for the purpose of our next hearing on April 14, 2026, the committee should consider adopting the sequence of the grounds for the third impeachment complaint and receive the evidence for both impeachment complaints jointly, considering that they may have in common evidence. I propose that for our hearing on April 14, the committee should determine the probable cause for the following grounds for impeachment. Number one, the Sabala complaint, the Vice President committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust, malversation, graft, corruption, and other high crimes. The Cabrera complaint, the Vice President committed betrayal of public trust, graft, and corruption. Number two, for the Sabala complaint, the Vice President committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust by committing malversation, grafts, corruption, and other high crimes. The Cabrera complaint, VP Duterte committed graft and corruption, bribery, procurement irregularities, and command responsibility. Number three, that VP Duterte committed capable violations of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust by corrupting and bribing officials of the Department of Education. And for the Cabrera complaint, that the Vice President committed bribery, procurement irregularities related to corruption in the Department of Education. Madam Chair.
May we confirm if that is your motion already, the Honorable D.S. Conghun?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So there is a motion to adopt the sequence of topics already read by the Honorable D.S. Conghun for the purpose of our determination of probable cause.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable De Lima.
it was not quite clear to me which specific grounds indeed are to be first tackled for the April 14 hearing. The movant or the proponent actually made mention about culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust. But which of these specific grounds? The first ground, I'm talking about the Cabrera, the Sabalia et al. Complaint. The first ground is about the anomalous disbursement of confidential funds for the OVP. The second is anomalous disbursements of confidential funds for the DepEd. And the third ground is bribery and other graft and corruption. And those three grounds are actually covered by the 5 motions for subpoena that I put forward and already approved. So those witnesses, those resource persons, subject of the subpoena, will be tackling these first 3. Anomalous disbursement of confidential funds, OVP, anomalous disbursements of confidential funds, DepEd, and the bribery and other graft. So it was not clear to me the manifestation earlier of the proponent. Is he also referring to this grounds?
Yes.
The Honorable De Lima is asking if the proposed sequence of topics pertains to 1 confidential fund of DepEd, 2 confidential fund of OVP, and 3 bribery in DepEd.
First OVP, then DepEd, then bribery.
Yes, Madam Chair.
The Honorable DS Conghun confirmed to that, Honorable De Lima.
Thank you for the confirmation because that is also the intended sequence insofar as the complainants are concerned in the Sabalia et al. Complaint. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So can
Madam
we rule
Chair.
on the motion? The
Madam-
Honorable Rodriguez.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to be clarified. In the third complaint, there are 6 grounds where we have found, the committee has found form, substance, and grounds sufficient. Also, the 5 grounds in the fourth complaint, how do we hear this? 6 grounds, third complaint, and 5 grounds of the fourth complaint. Are we going to go one by one for the third and then the fourth? We're going to mix because ground number 1 is ground number 1 also of the fourth complaint. Ground number 4 of the fourth complaint is ground number 2 in the complaint. So are we going to mix them if they have the same subject matter, or we will go, because I'm not clarified on this, or we'll go by grounds per complaint, Madam Chair? How do we go about this?
The way the chair understands with the proponent of the sequence of topics is that the allegations that pertains to the confidential fund of OVP, then DepEd, then bribery with in the DepEd are taken together, allegation by allegation, the third impeachment complaint and the fourth impeachment complaint, so that we can receive jointly the evidence which will be submitted by the parties in relation to these 3 topics: confidential fund of OVP, confidential fund of DepEd, and then bribery in the DepEd.
Yes, joint.
After that, Madam Chair, what will be the next to be heard so that we will know how we will go along with this hearing? So I understand 3, that's fine, because confidential funds is number 1 in the third complaint and number 1 in the second complaint or the fourth complaint. The second one, OVP, that is precisely ground number 2 and 3 of the third complaint, which are also part of the fourth complaint. And then, of course, the third one is the bribery. That is also the third and fourth complaint, and also the fourth and fifth complaint of the fourth. So how about the others? How are we going to go for the others? Or we go there once we finish the first 3?
May we hear from the endorser
Yeah.
how they want it to be presented for
Thank
the
you,
purpose
Madam
of
Chair.
determination of probable cause?
For the moment, for today, we are only manifesting what we intend to present or tackle or discuss, or for the April 14 hearing. Those 3 grounds, those first 3 grounds under the third Sabalia et al. Complaint. And from there, we should be able to determine now and manifest for the record what should be the next ground to be tackled, if still necessary, to tackle any of those other grounds. Thank you.
There is a pending motion to adopt the sequence of topics proposed by the Honorable DS Conghun. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is granted. The sequence of topics as proposed by the Honorable DS Conghun is hereby adopted.
Madam,
The Honorable Marcoleta.
thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, if you may I make a manifestation as regards to my observation on how the rules
You may proceed.
on how the rules were applied between the Marcos and the Duterte complaints. There
Chair.
appears to be
Madam
inconsistency
Chair.
The
in
Honorable De
application
Point of
rules.
order, we of course respect
There's
the
a
right.
point of order, Honorable Marcoleta. We have to hear it first. The Honorable Dilima.
We of course respect the right of even a non-member to make any manifestation, some manifestations that are relevant to the issues at hand. Now, those matters have been tackled already, exhaustively discussed in the course of the proceedings for the determination in substance, sufficiency in substance, as well as the determination of sufficient grounds. That issue has been resurrected a few times already. And even the Honorable Chair has actually refuted that point, that there is no different treatment. And if there's any different treatment, is because it's mandated or is called for, necessitated by the specific facts of these cases. So there's no point further to further touch on this matter.
Madam Chair.
So I move that we do not allow
Madam
the
Chair.
Honorable Marcoleta to
With all
press
due
further.
respect to the Honorable Marcoleta, the point of order is sustained.
Madam Chair, may I appeal?
Please make sure that your manifestation is germane
Yes,
to
ma'am,
our
because-
current impeachment proceeding.
Because
Please be reminded
ma'am.
not to move back. We have
Yes,
to move
ma'am.
forward.
every now and then the issue of due process comes up, and we will always go back on the fair application of the rules between the Marcos and the Sara Duterte complaints. I'm just making an observation, Madam Chair, and I think I should not be precluded from
With all due
making my
respect,
observation.
Honorable Marcoleta, a point of order has been raised and the same has been sustained. So I hope we will conclude on our manifestation pertaining to the alleged double standard. Please shift to other manifestations which are germane to our current discussion in this impeachment proceeding.
Okay, ma'am. May I proceed to what Congressman Rufus made earlier regarding the nexus to impeachable ground?
That nexus pertaining to the motion for issuance of subpoena to the representative of SEC has been ruled upon as well, Honorable Marcoleta, with all due respect.
Okay, so I am precluded from making any manifestations as a member of the House? Is
It
that
is
it, Madam Chair?
precisely because the manifestations which are being raised are issues which have been ruled upon by the committee already.
Yes, ma'am, but due process prevails at any stage of the impeachment process. So wala naman po sigurong masama sa
But please
manifestation.
confine your manifestations to the current subject matter of our impeachment proceeding. Please do not go back. The majority of the Justice Committee ruled already on the issue that you are raising. Let us respect the decision of the majority.
Yes, ma'am. Just a comparo between the two complaints sana, if I may be allowed.
That is going back again to the issue of double standard. With all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta.
I defer to the authority of the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Just for the record, if the lawyers or the respondent is present in today's hearing, they are welcome to read to the committee the witnesses they intend to present for the purpose of the determination of probable cause. That is for the record. Now, if there are no other matters which the members of the Justice Committee wish to raise,
Madam Chair,
the Honorable De Lima.
one other matter. I think this committee needs to anticipate any eventuality that between now and the next scheduled hearing, which I understand is on April 14,
That's correct.
if certain incidents, motions, or requests are also filed between now and the next hearing, wouldn't be proper for us, and I think it would be well within the prerogative of this committee, especially so that under House Resolution number 892, that authorized the committee to continue the conduct of impeachment proceedings, one matter or one action, power, or function that this committee can do or can exercise is conduct hearings and other proceedings related to impeachment complaints within its jurisdictions. So what if, Madam Chair, there would be further motions, requests, or incidents submitted or filed by any member of this committee? Wouldn't it be proper for us that this committee be allowed to hold meetings outside the scheduled hearing dates to discuss and act on subsequent motions, manifestations, requests, and such other incidents and matters that will be submitted for the committee's consideration. As with the hearings that we're conducting now, this should also be, of course, with notice to the parties and their counsels, and should be open to the public. I so move, Madam Chair, so that we don't have to wait, especially if these are urgent requests, we don't have to wait for the next hearing before this committee can act on those incidents, if any, only if there would be such subsequent incidents. Thank you.
There is a motion from the Honorable Laila De Lima to allow the committee to conduct meetings outside of this hearing. That is for the purpose of addressing urgent motions, manifestations, or any other matters relevant to the current impeachment proceeding. Do I hear a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
The same has been seconded?
My objection,
Objection?
because, we have 14, 21, and 29. Very clear that whatever is filed could be tackled on April 14. So it's not necessary that we will have additional hearings. We set this, it's in my calendar now. I still have the diary, which is not used by younger lawyers. But I think we have set already 14 to 29. So let us just, that is, also a premature speculation that there may be motions. And all motions will be tackled when it is filed on April 14. Thank you, Madam Chair.
With that, then we shall proceed to vote. There is a motion.
Madam Chair.
The
just a
Honorable Tino.
Clarificatory question.
Is your clarificatory question?
So distinction between meeting and hearing. So the meetings will, if I understand correctly, will still be open to the public, and they will still require quorum so that any motions and so on will be considered valid actions of the committee. Is that correct?
Let's hear from the
Chair?
proponent.
Yes, Madam Chair, because that is only on the premise that there would be subsequent motions or incidents between now and the next scheduled hearing in anticipatory, or in case, or only in the eventuality that such incidents are submitted or filed. And it's a given that there would be a quorum, and a quorum would be required, and that it would be open to the public. It's a given. But this is meeting, we can consider it a special meeting outside of the scheduled evidentiary hearings, which would start in April 14. That is my motion, Madam Chair, my point. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Does that satisfy the Honorable Tino?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Adjong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, does the committee already have that mandate or authority to exercise calling for an emergency meeting should there be a need to do that without necessarily the committee adopting a resolution? That's number one. Number two, Madam Chair, is I do agree with Manong Rufus that there are already indicated dates for the committee to conduct the next committee hearings. And if we are to, again, anticipate, for example, that there will be an additional hearings for the committee to conduct, that would also indicate the need for this committee for a 3-day notice ruling, Madam Chair. So we don't actually know exactly when would be the additional between the interval, in the interval in between dates that have already been identified by the committee. So again, Madam Chair, if there's already that authority by the committee chairperson to exercise calling for an emergency meeting, then with all due respect to Congresswoman De Lima, there is no need for the committee to adopt such a resolution.
I think this is only for the purpose of addressing urgent motions, pleadings, or manifestations that the motion of the Honorable De Lima is being raised. But nevertheless, that meeting to address the urgency will still be subject to the requirement of notice, hearing, as well as quorum, and the 3-day notice rule. No? So I think it will not harm our proceeding and even the pre-scheduled hearings on the 14th, the 22nd, and the 29th, no? So can we proceed to resolve the motion?
Again, my position, Madam Chair, with all due respect to Congresswoman De Lima, even if we don't adopt that resolution, the committee can already exercise that. It's already, and yeah, it's an inherent power of the committee to call for a special meeting.
Madam Chair, my point is, let's just be very clear about it. Because yes, under the House Resolution number 892, I mentioned earlier, may I just quote again, resolved further that during the recess of the House of Representatives from 21 March 2026 to 3 May 2026, the House Committee on Justice is hereby authorized to continue the conduct of impeachment proceedings and exercise powers necessary and incidental thereto in the same manner and with the same force and effect as if the House of Representatives were in session, including the following. 1, conducting hearings and other proceedings related to impeachment complaints within its jurisdiction. 2, setting, scheduling, and adjusting the calendar of hearings and other related proceedings. And there are 2 other matters like receiving, acting upon, and resolving pleadings, acting upon petitions, requests, motions. But my concern here only is that since we have predetermined dates of hearing already, which are for the evidentiary hearings, there might be, just anticipatory. So a standby authority, standby discretion, especially the chair, to hold or to call for a meeting outside of the regular scheduled hearings already in the calendar. Because one other aspect, as I cited earlier in the House Resolution number 892, setting, scheduling, and adjusting the calendar of hearings and other related proceedings during the period of recess. So this is just a standby authority, and to be very clear about holding other proceedings, meetings outside of the regular dates of hearing already predetermined. That is my point for clarity, for orderly and efficient conduct of the proceedings. Thank you.
The argument actually of the Honorable Rodriguez and the Honorable Adjong is that that power of holding a meeting is already inherent in the committee. But I don't see nothing wrong about ruling on this motion so as for us to re-emphasize the authority of this committee to hold hearings to address matters with extreme urgency. So with that, would the Honorable Rodriguez and the Honorable Adjong reconsider their position with regards to the motion of the Honorable De Lima?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
We are okay with the motion.
yeah,
You are withdrawing your objection. How about the Honorable Adjong?
yeah, I'm not objecting actually. I'm just trying to avoid redundancy here. So
You have
it's
no
already
objection.
inherent power, so there's no need for a resolution. But there's no objection, and I do understand the position of Congresswoman De Lima. Thank
With
you.
that, let me just reiterate, there's a motion from the Honorable De Lima to authorize the committee to hold meetings outside of these hearings. That is to address urgency. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is granted. If there are no other matters, I think it's past 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Madam
We've done
Chair.
a lot of things for today's hearing. The Honorable Percy Sendanya.
It has been a very productive day for us and for the Filipino people. I move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
There's a motion to adjourn or motion to suspend?
Let me withdraw my motion and reiterate motion to suspend, Madam Chair.
There is a motion to suspend our hearing today. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, our hearing today is hereby suspended.